Oh, just a second.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the FL Banger Show. My name is Siva. I'm joined by Sam. Game week 8, Sam, but since we've been away a while, I feel like it's time to give you some flowers. I spent a lot, because, for those who don't remember, it's a long time ago, but 2 weeks ago, Sam, you walked into game week 7, you had no Haaland, you captained Saka,
And I didn't make a transfer.
and you rolled. You did this alpha move of just not interested in making any moves. I'm just gonna go with this.
However,
Remind the people how it went.
if I did make a transfer, I would have scored even higher. Because my transfer was going to be Garnacho out for Brennan Johnson.
Ah,
That was going to be my transfer.
okay.
Truth be told, I was away at a bachelor's stag do, and I just kind of, got caught up and missed the deadline. So, or more like I just couldn't be bothered to really crack my head on what transfers do I make. So I just left it, and it turned out well. I ended up with 79 points, gimmick rank of 80,000, and it like halved my rank because I was 3 million, and now I have an overall of 1.3, and just like 20 points behind you, Siva. So no Haaland for the entire season, and just 20 points behind you. So it can be done. It can be
Oh,
done.
I don't like that at all. I came into this episode thinking I'm 280k or something. I'm very far ahead of you. I didn't need to know that I was 20 points ahead. That's
And isn't that quite crazy? Like at this stage of season, overall really doesn't matter at all. So I'm just 20 points behind you, but our rank difference is 1.2 mil versus 200k mil, thousand, so 200,000. So yeah, rank really doesn't matter. There's so little difference between the ranks.
that's crazy. And yeah, I guess you're one captaincy away from getting into top 200k. You're two captaincies away from getting into 100k. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
well all to play for, I guess.
Yep. Every game that Haaland blanks, basically I'm getting a green arrow. Let's see how long that will last. But yeah.
At least I don't feel so bad because I went. I didn't have Haaland for like the first week, but I rectified it quickly. The people who are feeling the worst are the people who went, game week 1 to 4 with no Haaland, and then okay, now the fixtures have turned, got him in for Fulham and Newcastle, and now he starts blanking.
Yeah. I don't want to say too much because I think it's it's hindsight. Hindsight is 2020, right? So of course, right now it looks like I made the right decision when I wildcard to stick with my guns and not bring a Haaland. But it could easily have gone the other way. So it's easy to say in hindsight.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the only reason you're still in contention of having a good season. Like if you had done what I would have told you to do, logical thing, which is fix the mistake, if you can call it a mistake, and get Haaland 2 weeks ago, you'd be staring at a 5 million rank, maybe 7 million rank right now. And it's amazing how like one decision. Of course, you've also made some good moves, like captaining Saka last week. Yeah, that was painful for me to watch as somebody who didn't even bother to get Saka, but.
I don't. Yeah, wasn't it the most obvious move to do? Saka does well at home against the worst team in the league. It's so obvious.
Overthinking. I mean, there's nothing more than that. That is and that is one of the sort of classic mistakes that I'm prone to making once I start getting ahead of myself. Because first few weeks the overthinking worked very well, early wildcard and all that, and hubris. But I've learned, Sam, and as we come into this week, I will be rectifying my mistake. Sticking to
By transferring Haaland
reliable.
out. Yes.
You wish. No, I decided I need a reliable attacker from a top team, someone who can be countered to deliver, somebody from midfield, someone who will show up, no risk of being benched. And that's why I'm thinking Phil Foden, Sam.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Bruno Fernandes for a minute.
Hey,
I thought it was
I'm
gonna be one
still.
of those classic Silva versus Bruno
Oh,
Fernandes moments.
I'm still seeing wildcard draws with Bruno Fernandes this week, but I mean, it's only the sickos who still have him, so I feel like we're just punching down now. Whoever's got Bruno Fernandes, you're in the mud so much that I feel like it's cruel to just keep going. So I will stop.
Kicking them when they're down. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not nice. Yeah. So no cheap shots at Bruno this week. I'll try. But talk to me about Phil Foden 7. And while you had it, let's have some data on the screen. Let's try and be a bit professional here. We've got what have we got here? Okay, so this is once again lovingly borrowed from Reddit. I tried to credit the person, but I think I seem to have blocked it with our watermark. But anyway, uh,
Hmm.
so if you go on fantasy Premier League Reddit, you'll have found this. I thought it was really cool. It's for those who are listening, direct X involvement, XG and XA per 90. Some interesting names here, Sam. But most importantly, is what I'm looking at is
I can't
Haaland
find
still.
Foden.
You can't find Foden, yeah. So I guess talk to me
Hasn't
about
played enough.
premiums. Foden hasn't played enough. He hasn't played 300 minutes this season. So talk to me about premiums this week, right? Because okay, you've done well so far with this no Haaland thing. So I feel like a Foden move is right up your alley. Am I, or are you, because you've been doing so well recently, bouncing around the premiums? You're not interested in going to City at all.
No, it's really weird because I started, or did I start with Foden? I know I had Foden really early on, and then he proceeded to get benched, not come in, and it's part of the reason why my start was really bad. So my logic at the start of the season was that Foden can cover Haaland, not necessarily getting 100% of the points Haaland is going to get, but for a fraction of the cost, you can reinvest in other areas, and Foden will still score well. Little did I know, Pep had other plans for Foden. And he has only played, how many minutes has he played this season? Barely anything.
I think not many, I think, is the simple answer.
So yeah, I mean, on his day, I still trust Foden, but I don't know if Pep trusts him. Yes, he did start last week. Will he continue starting every week? There is an element of risk, for sure. So it's one of those, it's a gamble. You're buying a ticket to a lottery, We don't know for certain whether Foden will start. But definitely I am looking at it, Siva, because I am worried about City's upcoming run, especially game week 9 when City plays Southampton at home. That sounds, smells, screams a Haaland 4 goal. Everyone's going to be captaining him. The only way I can try and mitigate that, is by getting in on the City action. Hopefully someone else can score big as well, someone like Foden.
I guess my real question to you, Sam, is do you wait on Foden? Because we've seen this before, right? And I think back to last season when Foden scored his hat tricks. I think both his hat tricks. There was no lead up. There was no sort of sign that this is going to happen now. It happened, and I think it happened after either people had mass sold him or just gone without, right? So I feel like you look at these fixtures, right? City play Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth, Brighton, Spurs, Liverpool in the next 6. The easy fixtures are now, not later. So if you're going to go Foden, surely you go in this week and you hope to catch the hat trick, because the hat trick could be this week and then maybe a 6-pointer against Southampton. I don't think that's like out of this world. So surely you go now. You don't wait one more week.
I think it depends on your style playing. The riskier move would be to go in now. It's riskier because you're not 100% sure on the minutes. The safer move will be to wait a week and see will Pep start him again. Will he get enough minutes? If it looks like he's being trusted, then yes, you can bring him in. At home against Southampton is still a good point, but there is the element of FOMO, I guess, what could happen this week. Number one, and number two, you just want to get ahead of the curve a bit. So I think it really depends on your style. How risk adverse are you? I definitely am strongly considering bringing Foden in this week because I need to make a mid transfer.
I guess my question is, what are you going to find out this week that you don't already know? I mean, if Foden plays 70 minutes this week against Wolves, is that gonna, like, what do you need to see against Wolves to have the confidence to then buy him in for Southampton? I can't imagine
That he
you're
starts.
gonna learn anything new. That he's
I mean, no, to be fair, Siva, it's not 100% that he will start. They have options.
I don't think they do though. Okay, KDB is still not, didn't go on the international break, so probably won't play.
KDB still out, yeah.
Yeah, and so that alone boost Foden's chances quite a bit. He didn't play the second game for England. I think he only came on as a sub for like the last 5-10 minutes. And of course, a lot has been made of Foden's form in general, but also his England form has been quite poor. But he didn't rock up many minutes, so that's good. And if you're Pep, you're trying to play him back into fitness. And I'm thinking about the last two fixtures before the break. He played the Champions League game against Bratislava, and then he played against Fulham, played about 70 minutes. My guess is if you're Pep, you're trying to play this guy into form. Wolves and Southampton, surely you just give him 70 minutes each. Yeah,
I think you're trying to use logic, but Pep sees things differently. I mean, I'm just saying it from a cautious point of view, not necessarily this is what I think will happen. But what I'm saying is that it's not outside the realms of possibility that Foden gets benched again because Pep did not like what he saw in the last game for Pep reasons. I mean, you mentioned Bruno De Bruyne being out. He was out, against sorry. Getting some Bruno inception in here, but they're pretty much almost the same player, aren't they? Okay, back to my point. De Bruyne was out game week 5, game week 6 against Arsenal, against Newcastle. He missed. Foden didn't start those games either. So it's not a certainty as in, De Bruyne's out, so Foden starts. No, Pep has options. He can play around, whether we agree to his decisions or not, that's a whole different story. So I guess the safer move, Foden has only had one start which is the last game week. Safer move would be to see, okay, was it just a one-off? Pep didn't like what he see. Will he get benched again? Or will Pep continue the faith, play him again this week? So I guess that would be the bare minimum. Like he starts this week. And then you can go all in, next week against Southampton. That'll be the safer, less risky move, but also less exciting, less spicy.
I don't like it. I was hoping you would give me some justification for my spice. So since you haven't,
no, I'm just saying that's the safer move. What would I do?
Yeah.
I like spice, so I'm strongly considering getting Foden in this week and being burned again for the second time this season in only 8 weeks.
Well, two mistakes don't make something right. I don't see your past issues with Foden. I would have said that was too early. I think now he's got some minutes under the belt, and I think they kind of need him because City's attack has been a bit. Recapping because people have forgotten, but they had less XG than Fulham, and they were quite lucky to get through that game. I think on another day, if again Adama Traore, if he knew how to shoot, Fulham win that game. And so it's one of those, especially with the Rodri injury out, this stuff. I'm perhaps still figuring it out, and I think while he's still figuring it out, somebody like Foden's kind of important to making this all work. I guess coming back to premiums and stuff, right? Okay, so Haaland, I guess even though you don't own Haaland, Sam, you wouldn't begrudge, like, you're not going to tell anybody to sell Haaland, right?
No, of course not. Not, with the fixtures coming up, not before Southampton at home, next game week.
Are you not tempted to restructure now and get Haaland, notwithstanding that you've gotten away so far?
I think his price has risen so much. Is this sunk cost fallacy? Maybe. But I will lie in my Haalandless bed that I have made. And just, have faith in the plan of moneyballing it, in which the savings you earn from Haaland can be spread to make your team better. And the other players are just as good captaincy options as Haaland, Salah, Saka, Palmer.
Okay, let's talk about Saka. Saka's actually not. I think Saka pretty easy this week, right? As long as there's a hint that he's fit, and chances are it's Arsenal, so Arteta will play this man even if he has one functioning leg. So
I think
easy
he starts.
keep, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think the word that came out from England camp was that, they didn't play him the second game as a precaution, like he was close or something like that. So, when there's this stuff like that, then, he'll probably start in time. He'll, get fit in time for the game.
Yeah. So I think Saka, we can park to one side. Cole Palmer, right? So Chelsea's, we've got him here. He looks very good. Underlying data is very good, better than Salah. Started the season very strongly. Jumping ahead to Chelsea's fixtures. These next few fixtures, are they hard? Are they easy? Or is it a case where if you own Cole Palmer, these are good fixtures? If you don't own him, these are bad fixtures? Because they play Liverpool, Newcastle, United, Arsenal, Leicester, and Villa in the next 6.
I would say this would not be the week to go in, right? Like away against Liverpool. I would say the 3 hardest fixtures are, away Liverpool, away Arsenal, away City, right?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
if you want to bring in Palmer, I think you can afford to wait 1 week and bring him in, game week 9 when they play Newcastle at home.
Mm. Yeah, I think so too. And I think the level of difficulty Chelsea had against Forest, and again, looking back to the last week, right, in breaking down a Forest side, uh, Liverpool
But
defense.
Forest, to their credit, Forest has been very, very good defensively this season.
Yeah, so we've got some defensive data on the screen now. This is from Data Analytic EPL, right? And so this is it's sort of organized. It's quite neat into low number of shots, low XG versus high number of shots, high XG conceded per game. And you can see the teams that are in the bottom left quadrant square are doing quite well, and that is Fulham, Forest. So surprisingly, we don't think of these as strong defenses. And then right at the left end is Liverpool. And that matches up with what we've seen, right? This Liverpool team, I think we've said it very early on. Arne Slot, very much about keeping things solid, very different from Klopp, not interested in chasing high scores. I mean, they basically just ground out the victory against Palace. And so this, yeah, I agree with you. Don't have Palmer this week, and I am sleeping quite easy tonight. I don't think I will make any moves to get him in.
Yeah. And it's hard, I think. So we all have got to make sacrifices if you want to get Palmer in, even next week. You gotta sell Saka, you gotta sell Salah. You can't have Foden and all this. You can't have all of them, especially with Haaland as well. I don't have a Haaland team. Even I'm struggling to fit all of them in.
Yeah. One common sort of sacrifice I saw, and we discussed this last week, and I guess we were more interested in it than we are now, was a lot of people were selling Trent to get to Palmer, Saka, Haaland, Salah, so on. How do you feel about selling Trent? Given that they kept the clean sheet, he got bonus again. He's, I mean, higher scoring defender despite only having one attacking return. Has he been good value?
I'm not too sure on that. I mean, Stats FC would tell you that he's still high above any other defender, right? Like
Yeah.
underlying stats. He's like double the next. Yeah, look at that. For those of you who are listening, it's double, right? Am I? Yeah.
He's got double the expected assist per 90 of any player any defender in the league. Yeah.
Yep. But FPL is not played based on stats alone.
He's doing well on points too.
He is, but you could make the argument that you could save 2 mil, go for Konate, and only be 4 points behind. If the Chelsea defense as a whole is just what you want, the clean sheets, right? Then Konate is really good value at 5.2.
How'd you get Chelsea, mate?
Yeah, I mean the next
Liverpool
two.
defense.
Liverpool defense. Next 2 fixtures are hard, right? So Chelsea and Arsenal is the next 2 fixtures. So I'm planning to jump off Trent for the next 2 fixtures and then come back in 2 weeks' time with Konate maybe. So that's my plan. A bit of hokey pokey there, but I mean I have 2 free transfers, if I can make this kind of stuff.
It's curious that you're spending your transfers in defense, because I have what I think is a very template defense, I must say. I have Raya, Trent, Gabriel, and Rico Lewis. And my feeling right now is I don't want to make another transfer in defense for the rest of the season. Because it just feels like these guys are all good to go each week. So why touch them?
I think that's what's the word? The security that having Haaland brings you. If you don't feel that you need to change so much because your funds are stuck because of Haaland, but you selling him is not a possibility. So you just gotta live with your team, right? So you can't make many changes. Whereas for me, because I have money, I'm constantly like trying to play the fixtures, bringing one in, one out. Makes it a bit more fun. But again, So it's riskier, I guess, without Haaland. Less comfortable,
Yeah.
but more fun. More
Yeah, I guess
flexibility,
you're
more
playing
fun.
this stock market. I'm just got like a fixed deposit. I figured out,
Yeah,
this
that's it.
is steady interest rates kind of thing. Yeah, yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, sell Trent, and then I'll have extra funds. I can get Salah, Saka, Palmer, and Foden as my midfield with Umbremo kind of thing.
Okay, okay. I mean, I don't mind that because I take your point, right? The Konate comparison is quite sort of tempting, and it does feel like Konate has definitely locked that place down ahead of Kwanzaa. So maybe 4 weeks ago I wouldn't have been so keen, but now I wouldn't mind going Konate, and he seems to be doing quite well on bonus as well. Since you're looking at defenders, right? Because I'm conscious of the fact that some people would have played wildcard
Sorry,
this week.
just to correct you, he's only had one bonus point. So not doing that well on bonus, but just purely from clean sheets. He had one goal and one assist, so that really boosted his points. Although I don't expect that to
Okay, okay.
continue.
Two attacking returns. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Um, I guess since you're considering getting rid of Trent, talking about, I'm assuming you're going down in budget. Can I
Mm.
interest you in a 4.3
Ryan
million
Aït-Nouri.
defender?
Are you gonna say Ryan Aït-Nouri? Is
I
he
wasn't going
4.3?
to say. No, he's 4.4. I think. I
Okay.
actually wasn't going to.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
4.4. Okay. I mean, let's deal with
Make your
Aït-Nouri
case,
first.
No,
No,
make your case
let's.
first. Tell me who are you thinking of, and then I'll go to Aït-Nouri.
Okay, because Aït-Nouri is your pick, right? So let me talk to you about somebody who I feel I'm surprised that you don't already have him. He's 4.3 million. He plays. Let's see. What are these? Some very easy fixtures in the next. Let's see. I don't want to show them on the screen because that gives it away. But they play Everton, Brentford, Palace, Wolves in the next 5. Right. 4.3 million. It's got some
Okay, I
bonus,
know who you're
some
talking
attacking
about.
potential,
Are you
and
surprised I don't have him because I had him?
I mean, you had him so early on. You had him as a Palace player, so I'm surprised you don't have Joachim Anderson.
Yeah, I always loved Anderson, and I think 4.3 is a great steal. It's just that I
Hmm.
already have Robinson and not doubling up on a Fulham defender.
Hmm. Okay, okay.
I think Robinson just ages his out because of his attacking appeal, attacking threat.
True, true.
However, um, let me check on Anderson's. So he was really, really good in Palace in terms of bonus, right? Like every clean sheet, he was keeping bonus because of the passes that he was making and things like that. Not sure how's he doing in Fulham for that.
Well, I mean, their only clean sheet so far, he kept 2 bonus points, one more than Robinson. A bit small sample sizes and all that. Um,
Yeah,
and I would agree with you. Definitely, Robinson's got the attacking potential.
but 4.3 is cheap for a player who is nailed and has good fixtures coming up. And I think he'll still be among the bonus points, when they do keep clean sheets.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm down with it. I just don't want to double up.
Okay. Fair. So talk to me your case for Ryan Aït-Nouri, because as much as I think we've always liked watching him play, you're talking about a defender who plays for a team that has lost every single game bar one, which they drew against Forest in game week 3. So what's
Well,
the upside here?
they also had the worst fixture run to start, right? If I'm not mistaken, they have not played a team who is in the lower half of the table so far. Every single team they have played, including this coming week in which they are, going to play City away. So they have not played a team in the bottom half of the table yet. But after City, things start to turn. They have a nice run of fixture coming up, and I think yes, it's been tough for them, but if there's a point that's going to turn around, it will be this. I don't expect many clean sheets. However, the attacking potential that you have from Ryan Nuri is crazy. He basically plays like a winger.
I mean,
However,
he is, yeah, he is a
there
winger.
is no case to bring him in this week.
Ah,
For the no one's gonna bring in a Wolves defender and play them. I have the luxury of a free transfer, so even if I
mhm.
do downgrade Trent, he will be on my bench to come in future weeks. I just need the funds right now.
Okay,
But
okay,
if you don't have that, like definitely don't do it for a hit. That'll be crazy.
all right. Mm, okay, so
But
fair. Okay, so he's fixtures turn, not just yet, and you think he's good value for the money. Okay, these fixtures aren't so bad. I'm looking at them now. Game week 10 Palace, game week 11 Southampton, 13 Bournemouth, 14 Everton. Okay, these are okay fixtures. Um,
But again,
and you've
attacking
got
defense.
free transfers. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
so fair enough. Underlying data, as you can see on the screen, pretty decent. Um, to sort of bring it back to a more conventional pick, and I know you're going to hate this, but I might as well ask you. He had an assist yesterday for Spain. Pedro Porro. Still not
Mm.
interested, Sam? Never going to go
Mm.
near?
Pedro Porro is just a really expensive Ryan Anui.
Okay.
I mean, Spurs do have good fixtures coming up. They play West Ham, Palace, Villa, Ipswich, City. So good fixtures, but the defense is not very good.
You don't say. I mean, that Brighton game is one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah, so I don't mind paying 4.4 for a player who will never keep clean sheets but has chances of attacking returns. But I'm not paying
Mm.
5.5 for a player who, for the same thing.
Okay. Down with that. No arguments. I there are other pods that will discuss Pedro Porro in better terms. You're not going to find it here, I don't think, sadly. I mean, this is what's with Spurs, right? Can we just talk about Spurs for a bit? Like, what is this? Is this going to change? Is it because I feel like nothing has changed? We have gone, we went away for the break, the summer, and all that. We've come back, and it's exactly the same thing. No
Yeah, I have no
solidity,
idea.
nothing.
But can I just point something out? For some reason, right, no one is talking about Manchester United defenders. Right? No one wants to go near them. No one would ever recommend getting a Manchester United defender. However, they have kept 4 clean sheets,
And
which is the
do
second
you
highest in the league, only behind Liverpool. And if you look at all the top defenders, there are a few United players there.
and do you know who's the top scoring keeper in FPL right
Yes,
now?
Andre Onana. So that's my point. Why is no one talking about Manchester United defenders? Are we just I don't know, biased by the bad results that we ignore the fact that they have kept 4 clean sheets?
I mean, you say no one's talking about Man United defenders, Sam. I present to you on screen now. This is the scout, right? So, I mean, at the bottom of the barrel for data now, I'm looking at FPL's official scout, and this is their wildcard team for this week. And look who they have in goal. They have Andre Onana. They have more United players in this wildcard team than they do Liverpool players. Okay.
This is just purely, let's sort the goalkeepers by points scored and put them in.
To be fair to them, they've got some interesting picks here. They got Brennan Johnson, they got Liam Delap, they've got Ryan Aitnuri, Sam. I'm half surprised you didn't pick this team. No Trent, right? Bomo, Collins,
Very interesting team.
yeah, Palmer and Saka. I mean, this is a pretty sexy team, no? From the scout,
Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty spicy.
it's pretty spicy, but it's missing one very, very, very crucial player, Sam. And who do you think that is?
Is this where we jump to forwards?
Yeah, we do. It's all over the place today, but let's jump to forwards now because you know who I'm talking about.
Raul Jimenez.
Raul Jimenez, right?
Yeah,
So
okay.
you've seen the free kick. I've seen the free kick. Anybody who hasn't seen the free kick, go see it. Raul Jimenez has apparently become Beckham, basically. Uh,
Got free kicks in his locker. For those of you who have not noticed, because it's really gone under the radar, but Ryan Jimenez has returned 4 games in a row. And that includes last week against City, in which he got an assist.
that
In
assist.
those 4 games, so 3 goals, a goal a game, and then 1 assist last week. And maximum bonus points in 2 of those games. That's another 6 points. So he looks really good, and he looks nailed because I don't know what's happening with Muniz. Yeah.
I mean,
it's
he's second
off-putting,
choice. He
right?
comes on. I mean, Jimenez plays 70, 75,
Yeah.
and
No, I mean, like, last season, Muniz was undisputed number 1.
yeah.
Raul Jimenez has come in and made the place his own. And I don't know, he looks really good. And Fulham has good fixtures, as you mentioned earlier. And he's cheap, 5.6 mil.
Yeah. 2 points. I mean, the reason about why Muniz was the main man last season was he had that spell where everyone in FPL was buying him, and then he had this really long run with no goals, no returns, and that
Mm.
stretched into this season. And I think that's what's led to Jimenez getting the place. And he's in good form, so he'll keep the place until his form drops out. A couple of points though. Jimenez took the pen against Forest, but that was, according to Marco Silva, only because Andres Pereira was uh, fouled in the build-up and he was sort of injured.
Yeah.
Andres Pereira really wanted to take that penalty, and Marco Silva says he's on penalties. I don't think that's that big a deal because nobody gets pens anyway, so who cares? I don't think it's such a big deal. These are really good fixtures,
Mm.
and he seems more. I mean, for his price, right? It's it's quite good because you could get Smith Rowe, Iwobi, Andreas, but they're all gonna have less attacking threat compared to the guy who's playing up front.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, just pointing out again, last week he did really, really well against City. And he finished the game with 1.24 XGI against City away. So, yeah,
very
Raul
decent.
Jimenez is my spicy forward pick.
Mm. Another guy who wasn't in that draft wildcard team that the scout was hyping, another forward, Sam. And I think obviously they took a very hard decision to take him out of their team. But I think we need to
Talking about
sort of,
Chris, you're talking about Chris Wood.
yeah, I think we need to have a full throated uh, sort of endorsement of Chris Wood here. As two Malaysians, Sam, we saw Chris Wood score against Malaysia, world class opposition, and he somehow
But
managed to score past us.
let me just remind you, Siva. In FPL, he has scored one game and blanked every other game. Right? Goal, blank, goal, blank, goal, blank. Scored last week, international break 2 games. Blanked the first, scored,
No,
but
no,
he's still blank.
he scored in both. He scored against Tahiti. I mean, let's not read too much into this, okay? I mean, I did I did watch some of his game against Tahiti, and they were like just taxis just driving past the stadium. It's some questions about the opposition, and Malaysia, the less said, the better. Uh,
Okay.
but
Point
you think
taken,
that
Siva.
continues? He's gonna
I have
blank
no
against
idea.
Palace because
Are
that's how the
you
run works.
is that what's the gambler's fallacy where we start
That's
seeing
not even
patterns?
gambler's fallacy, mate. That's just stupid math. This is not even.
Yeah, I mean, he's there in my team. Very unsexy. I want to make a transfer and bring in Raul Jimenez, but I don't want to sell Chris Wood, so I'm stuck here right now.
Chris Wood is firmly in my team. He goes nowhere. I feel like there are other people who should be removed from your team before Chris Wood. So
Another striker that I am really looking at is Matheus Cunha,
mm,
who again is playing City this week, so this might not be the week you want to bring him in. But then again, Raul Jimenez, returned against City and had XG of 1 point whatever it was. Cunha has been really doing well despite Wolves' form. So I mean, he already had 3 goals, and he's really central to everything Wolves does. So once their fixture turn, he's someone I really, really would like to get in. And I had him last year. I think that contributes to it. Had him last year before his injury when he was doing really well as well. It was a great differential for me. So maybe a bit of nostalgia there, a bit of loyalty to my man.
yeah, I mean that's how people ended up with Bruno. I said I wouldn't take shots. Okay, so Cunha fine, but not this week. I'm surprised you're not talking Dominic Solanke. Good
He was
fixtures,
going to be the
nailed.
next person I was going to talk about. I think Solanke is a great asset to have. Again, so when I was preparing for this pod, Siva, I realized, right, that actually the most exciting part of the team right now is the forwards. Because we have suddenly have so many options, whereas a lot of the mid-price midfield options just kind of died down. But forwards, yeah. So, Haaland, Watkins, you still can bring Havertz, who has been doing really well the past few weeks, under the radar as well. And then you got people like Raul Jimenez, Matheus Cunha coming up. You have Solanke, who again is somewhat still under the radar. I think the only people who really brought him in were people who wildcarded last week. I
Yeah.
don't think anyone really spent a free transfer to bring him in. So still quite low owned, only 11, 12%. And returned for the past 3 weeks. very central to how Spurs play.
But do you? I guess the issue for those who don't already have Solanke, like I don't have him, but I got Brennan Johnson, and
Mhm.
for me that
Are you
feels
happy
like
with
that's
Brendan Johnson, Siva?
uh, how can you not be? I mean, he scores every week, right? He can't stop scoring. But although by FPL rules, maybe he scored what 7 in 7, so he's due a
Yeah,
blank, right?
maybe. That's
Yeah.
what people say about Vardy.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. Imagine if he deletes Instagram and then he goes and beats Vardy's record. That'd be
Mm.
amazing. What was it? 13 in 13. Like,
So let this be a lesson for you kids. Delete Instagram and you go on to break records.
mm, I couldn't agree more. So my question to you, Sam, because I have BJ and Wood. I'm loving it. So
Mm.
you aren't you like
Did you
uh
save that for the entire past 2 weeks just to make this?
okay, you don't obviously I'm not that immature, it just came to me. But speaking of BJ, right? Would it make you happy to have both Brandon Johnson and Solanke in your team, or you think that's too much investment in a team that is flaky as heck, but to be fair, very attacking?
It's true. I just feel like there are so many other options. Do you really want to double up?
Mm,
You could, if you want to, but at the same time, you could have like Brendan Johnson and Wood instead, or you could have Cunha next week, or you could have Havertz, who is also a good pick. There's so many options. I really like how it's really hard to form a template actually because there are so many equally good picks. I do like Brendan Johnson though. I've always liked him even before he moved to Spurs. Um, I and he's doing well. So I confess, Siva, that the only reason why I rolled a transfer last week was because you brought in Brendan Johnson. And I was like, I'm not gonna make the same move Garnacho to Brendan Johnson. And then I was in the midst of day drinking. I was like, I'm not gonna spend too much thought on it. I'll just roll it this week.
That's impressive. I would have thought the alcohol would push you to actually make a move, but
It pushed me to make a bad decision because it should not affect me, but it did.
yeah.
Uh,
But
yeah.
to be fair, right? Brent Johnson's underlying data is nothing to shout about. You can see this chart here, whereas Solanke's underlying data is pretty good. So is it a case of, because you're saying don't double up, but maybe you should double up, and maybe you should just like two good assets. It doesn't make a diff if you have, like, I have Haaland, I want to get Foden like that. These two things are unrelated, right? Two good players from the same team doesn't matter.
It's true. It's true. But you also got to remember that Solanke is 7.6, whereas a lot of the other forwards are cheaper. Wood is cheaper. Raul is cheaper. Cunha is also cheaper by 1 mil. And then the difference from 7.6 to Havertz, who is 8.3, is not that big as well. So I think it's more of a structure thing. It's easier to fit in a Spurs midfielder like Brendan Johnson than a forward in your team because most people's forward slots are already locked in. Like, it doesn't make sense to transfer Wood out, doesn't make sense to transfer Watkins out, doesn't make sense to transfer Haaland out.
Fair.
I
And
I Speaking of Spurs midfielders, I know you're talking about Brent Johnson, but I'm thinking about bringing Madison in this week too.
I was gonna come to Madison, yeah. So talk to me about
Whose
Madison.
underlying numbers are really, really good.
Hmm,
Better than Brendan Johnson. He's slightly more expensive, but also a differential as well. Not many people have him, only 5.4 owned. And I'm pretty sure not many people in who plays FPL actively owns James Madison. But has been
Yeah.
doing really well. Although somewhat streaky, which
Mm,
in line with how he's always played actually. So you just gotta write out the blanks and he hauls here and there. But it looks good. Looks
yeah.
central again towards Person. Looks like he's back to his best before his injury last season.
I like it. I think because you can see the data, right? Madison's got better XG than Saka. He's got much better data than Sun. Yeah, once you add in his expected assists, and he's got set pieces. He's got all sorts of routes to sort of bail him out if he doesn't get an open play return. But he's been doing that. Decent on bonus also. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it. It's spicy, but it's a pick in line with you're picking a Spurs player for their good fixtures, which everyone's doing. But you're going just a bit spicy with who you're going. I don't mind it at all. Yeah.
So
Mm,
Madison, He's 1 mil more than Brent Johnson though, and at the same time, Johnson seems to be the one benefiting from everything. Scoring the goals. So
I mean,
I think
it
it's a
looks like,
close toss up. There's a
yeah,
case
it's a
for
toss
both,
up.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both doing well. I guess so. I don't see any issues. I think because again, you've not got Haaland, so you have these options open to you that the rest of us don't have. Um, Jared Bowen. Okay, so let's talk a
Hmm.
bit about Jared Bowen because very impressive haul against Ipswich, but again, it was Ipswich. So is that a case of good opposition? Because I mean, Antonio hauling like it's 2018. Okay, so so how much do we read into this fixture?
I mean, you got tough fixtures coming up, right? And West Ham as a whole has not been playing that well. But again, new manager, pretty much almost a completely new team. Style wise, not really fitting. I think there's some fallout between Kudus and the manager as well.
Mm.
So just a whole bunch of things. I wouldn't go near Spurs. I mean, I wouldn't go near West Ham. Although Jared Bowen has always been Mr. Reliable. I think it's always been a good FPL asset, and their fixtures turn soon.
Mm.
So I wouldn't bring him in right now, especially with there's so many other midfield options that you could have.
Okay, fair. Coming down a bit in budget because I'm conscious that people will be trying to make moves this week to try and afford Palmer, Saka, Haaland, all these guys. Budget midfielders, okay, because Smith Rowe didn't start against City, so that probably counts against him. Although it was City, so understandable
Yeah,
benching.
I think it was a tactical thing, right? He wanted to be more solid in the midfield, so he took out a more creative attacking player.
Yeah, so fair enough. Um, Budget options now seem to be a bit more tricky than they were, say, a few weeks ago. Okay, Morgan Rogers managed to, for those who don't know, played for England under 21s yesterday against Azerbaijan and managed to blank in a 7-0 win, which is quite impressive,
Which is
I must
kind of
say.
in line with what have been happening in FPL as well.
Yeah, so returns haven't been as good as you'd hope. I mean, Villa against United is one of the worst games you will see in several lifetimes. Neither team really wanted to win that. Both settled for the draw.
But again,
So that's
Siva,
more.
he is 5.0. You said hasn't returned as much as you hope. How much returns did you hope for from a 5.0 player?
Yeah, but you see, I mean, we need points, okay? Like in my team, everybody's got to carry their weight, okay? When I've got a 15.4 million guy blanking every week, uh,
Siva, you're wrong. You said it yourself, Siva. Morgan Rogers is just there to enable you to have Haaland and Trent and Saka and whoever else that you have.
yeah,
It's just
and
an enabler in place.
Haaland's busy
But
shaking his legs, mate.
it
So I,
only it only feels bad because Haaland didn't score. If Haaland had
Mhm.
returned the past few weeks, you wouldn't mind Morgan Rogers blanking. So I think context is important here. Like, you have short memories. You forgot about his just 2 weeks ago. Like, he's been hauling for you 7 points, 10 points. I don't think there's anything wrong with Morgan Rogers. You get what you pay for.
Okay, fair, fair, fair. But I still want to sort of interest you in some alternatives, right? Because people got transfers and we've got
Yeah.
mistakes to make, right? So you can see Dwight McNeil on the screen was quite a popular pick maybe 2 weeks ago, after scoring two worldies, golazzos, whatever you want to call them. Um, Everton got good fixtures, right? So, and
Yeah.
did you realize that Dwight McNeil's only like 24 years old? Like he's
Yeah, yeah. He's really young. I know this
yeah,
because of FM. I don't think he's still 24. I think he's 25
yeah,
now. That's
he's
slightly
young,
old.
right?
But he's pretty young. He's pretty young.
And he's been around forever.
Yeah. He basically was a wonder kid in Everton. Because he's
Mm.
been playing for them for so long, right?
Burnley,
Sorry, yeah, yeah. He's pretty
or
much came
Daesh.
out as a wonder kid, yeah, under Daesh.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, has not been really playing under an attacking manager, which is why I think his profile has been kind of low, despite him doing really well for his age, honestly.
So, do you still? I mean, is Dwight McNeil, where you go at that price bracket? Is he the only pick, or do you consider someone more interesting, Sam? And I guarantee you will have no way of knowing who I'm going to tell you now. But this is a guy who plays Southampton this week. So We like
Who's
that.
Manchester United this week?
He's got
Leicester.
2 goals,
I
2
don't know
assists
anyone
already
from them.
this season. And he's got a brilliant name, which I'm going to say as many times as I can from now. So it's
Is it
Facundo
Buonanotte?
Buonanotte. Yes.
Good night.
I mean, yes. Well, yeah. So
He's on loan from Brighton, right? Isn't he? Or did they buy him?
no, he's on loan.
Okay.
He's Brighton, so
Uh,
he's good.
yeah. I remember how he was last season. When he appears, he suddenly magically scores and what.
Yeah.
So seems like a good player. Yeah. I don't know if I would bring in a Leicester player though.
Southampton, Forest, Ipswich, Man United.
It's a tough
The
game.
4 easiest fixtures in the league. I mean, these
I
are
don't know about that.
Facundo
Forest is a tough
fixtures, mate.
fixture. Forest is a
Okay,
tough fixture.
okay, yeah, Forest is a
The
tough
other
fixture
three
for
are easy.
Facundo.
Yeah.
But I think Facundo can do well against Southampton, Ipswich, and United. I mean, that is like Facundo Hall territory, I feel.
I would just get a bit more money and move up. Although there are not many options. So
He's 5 mil, mate. What do you want?
yeah, but why do you need a 5 mil starter?
Because I have Haaland, sympathize with people like me. Okay.
Isn't that why you have Morgan Rogers? So
Yeah, but it's about time, Morgan Rogers is time TikTok, if there's another blank. I think for people who are on wildcard this week, this is like a free kind of risk pick. You pick somebody who's got Southampton, Ipswich in the next 3, and you just see what you get.
I don't know. I feel like it's a transfer out. It's a transfer waiting. After all, he doesn't even start every week. Yes, he started the past 2 weeks, but before that, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't know much. Okay, I will admit I don't know much about this guy. I can't give any good advice on his playing time or anything like that.
All right, fair enough. So you feel like you just don't know anything about Facundo Buonanotte to sort of recommend if he's too cheap for you. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I won't push it. To be fair, to your credit, he did travel for Argentina's games, so that level of research I have done. He didn't play. Yes,
Oh, he's
Buonanotte
called.
is in. He's in the Argentinian squad. He sat on the bench for both of them. So I guess the fact that
It's because Garnacho was injured,
Mm,
so he took
so
over Garnacho's bench spot. That's all.
yeah, what? And this is the country that are the world champions, right? So Buonanotte is part of this squad. How have England not won a trophy yet? But anyway, so
Oh, but it means that he had a good view of Messi's amazing performance yesterday,
that's true. That's
in
true.
which he had a hat trick and 2 assists or some crazy thing like that. So maybe
Yeah, I
he's
guess the big
inspired and he comes back playing like Messi.
so
Just feeding him.
okay. That's one way to look at it. I mean that I was so because I mean Haaland blanked in Norway's 5-1 defeat to Austria, managed by some Ralph Rangnick. I don't know who this guy is, but anyway, yeah. So you feel like Haaland losing 5-1 is going to motivate him to play worse? Or
No. I think he's just washed. Like his career's over. He's never scoring a goal for the rest of his professional career.
okay,
He's about to announce his retirement after he blanks in the Southampton game and he realized that I'm just not cut out for Premier League football anymore.
to be fair, he's already beaten the all-time Norway goal-scoring record. He did that over the break. His girlfriend's pregnant, so technically he's done it all. He's already won the Champions League, Premier League. Like, could
Yeah.
retire tomorrow. Would be a decent career, to be fair.
True. Fingers
Okay.
crossed.
So on that note, right? Speaking of Haaland, let's just jump to captaincy. We've spent enough time, but there's always a segue, right? So yeah, we've got predicted goals for this week. Haaland, as usual, top of the chart. Nothing unusual here. Who's your captain this week, Sam?
I haven't decided. If I bring in Foden, it will be Foden.
So spicy
But,
a pick. I was going to say it's not here, but actually, he's number 6. It's not too bad. It's not too far down
okay.
this chart.
If not, then it would be Salah, I think, at home. Simply because I don't really have much options.
We didn't talk much about Salah, so let's do it now. I mean, I'm starting to get annoyed. Obviously, Salah, because of my structure, stopped me from getting Saka. So maybe that is my resentment for a totally unrelated matter. But he came off early against Palace, which is annoying.
Hmm.
To be fair, he came back early from Egypt duty, so he didn't play the second game of the international break.
He
I
scored in
hope
the
not
first
because
game, right?
scored in the first game, but he's playing Mauritania or something. Let's not. I mean, uh, but without saying anything insulting about Mauritanian audience. But yeah, so assuming that he's fit and he didn't come back for any knock or anything, because nothing's been reported. Salah against, like, is this a good fixture? He's playing Chelsea, who
Yeah,
don't have the best
it,
defense. There's
it is a
no
good fixture.
Fofana or Kukurea, so good
It is a
fixture.
good fixture. It is a good fixture. They're playing Chelsea at home. Chelsea very, very leaky. I'm not selling Salah this week. I know a lot of people are.
I'm so
And I
tempted.
do believe that you will regret it because he's only blanked twice this season, you know. And in the matches that he did not blank, so out of 7, he blanked 2. In the 5 games, he had double-digit haul in 4. So
Okay,
managers
when you
are
put it
just
like that.
so short-sighted just because he blanked 1 week. We're all like, oh, it's time to sell him.
Okay, fair. I mean, yeah. I mean, when you gonna start putting it to me like that? Okay, I guess. And I did say, you're making all my transfer decisions from now. So, okay, I will.
I think you should sell
Uh,
Haaland too.
and it ain't gonna happen, mate.
For Raul Jimenez. Yeah.
I will say one thing, right? You did something that I should have done. You kept Jota. I was weak. You held on, and now you must feel very good about yourself, right? Because uh, you come into another. I mean, if you think it's a good fixture for Salah, it's a good fixture for Jota. Darwin again had to travel with Uruguay, so all expectation is that Jota starts again.
Yeah. I think Jota has established himself as the number 1 striker for Liverpool, but still prone to rotation, especially when Champions League games are there and things like that. So he may not start every game. I'm happy that I kept him, but I am still looking to sell him. Not because I don't think that he will start, but just there are more exciting, spicier picks out there that tempt me.
Fair. Uh, yeah, you accept what you get for the price. I think you're satisfied with that price. What do you think about? Let's talk about two things. So, Ollie Watkins. You own Ollie Watkins, right? So
Yes, I do.
I'm curious to know what you think about Ollie Watkins because I haven't owned him all season. I
Mm.
feel no desire to go near there. I still think he's got there's too much competition for him with John Duran, and I'm not keen.
Mm. I think he still cements his place as first choice. Is he worth the 9 mil that I paid for him? I don't know. That's a question we'll only be able to answer at the end of the season. I really feel Watkins is just one of those players that you just leave him in your team and forget about it. Because he barely gets injured, and points will come. And I had really, really bad memories of transferring him. I think twice I did it last season, in which I took him out and he scored a hat trick or some big haul. So I've decided this year he'll just stay there. He's my Haaland replacement.
Okay, fair. I was gonna say that how you feel about Watkins is how I feel about Trent, and I didn't realize this, but they have the exact same points.
Mm, fair. Except that for Trent there are alternatives within the same team to get the clean sheet points. For
Fair, yeah.
Watkins, yeah, you could get a player from another team for sure, yeah, but definitely riskier. And I think not having Haaland, I need to keep certain aspects of my team relatively risk-free. And Watkins is one of my blue chip insurance, I guess.
Okay, fair. I think nothing else. We've glossed over, but anyone's watching. There are United
Just
players on
say
this
that I
list.
don't. Sorry, can I? Yeah, I was just gonna point that out, Siva. I don't trust this bookies odds because Xerxes and Hoyland 33% higher than Saka.
Uh,
I don't know. I don't trust this list.
yeah, I mean, any list which has United, as we kept talking, I realized, oh no, Man United players on any list. Fernandes, Maybe that's Southampton Fernandes. Who knows?
Oh yeah, they didn't
That's the only way
specify.
this makes
Right?
sense.
Yeah,
It,
could be
you know,
Enzo.
could be
I
it. Yeah,
missed
could
out
be
the
Enzo
last
too.
letter. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's us for this week. We've cracked out a fair bit of time. I'm not entirely productive, a bit all over the place, but first week back
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all that.
This is what happens when there's an international break. We lose our momentum, and when we come back, I was telling Siva before we recorded that I can barely remember what happened. It felt like so long ago. The last round of games.
True, very true. But I think we covered all the points. We didn't mention Kovacic price rising. Like who is buying?
People who sort by points scored. That's who, Siva.
And smash cut to Kovacic scoring another brace against Wolves. Okay, I think we covered every player we wanted to discuss. And if they're
Yeah.
not mentioned here, then chances are they're either they're Brian and Bomo. They're so good that it's not worth discussing, or they're
Bruno
Bruno
Fernandes.
Fernandes. Okay. So that's us this week. In the meantime, Sam.
Get your green arrows, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, like,
Okay.
share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.